gone, still on the ride. Mike and Need be side by side, talking thrills from coast to coast, celebrating what we love the most. Turn it up, feel the vibe, join the thrill of this ride. Hold on tight, it's time to go. Here it is, Coaster Radio.
This is your announcer, Neil Patrick Harris. Welcome to the 20th anniversary season of Coaster Radio. Here are your hosts, my close personal friends, Mike Collins and E.B.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the original theme park podcast. You are listening to Coaster Radio. My name is Mike. I am here with my friend E.B., ready to talk theme parks and thrill rides.
Yeah, and beyond that, Mike, we're talking about all sorts of things. It is part 2 of the CoasterRadio.com listener questions episode. We did listener questions last week. We've got so many. We're doing more listener questions this week. They are about theme parks. They are about roller coasters. They are about thrill rides, but they're also about the podcast and about anything else. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Fun episode. What do you say we jump right in, man? There are a ton of great questions. Let's just do it. Here is the first one. What changes towards homogenization? There we go, that big word. So what changes towards homogenization between Legacy Six Flags and Cedar Fair parks do you expect to see this season? Commonality on height requirements, seatbelts on B&M hypers, food prices, or something else?
Well, we've already seen some interesting changes to height requirements. A lot of the Mine Train roller coasters. This was on Theme Park News from Coaster Radio, our daily news podcast. Last week, they went around and they took a bunch of the Mine Train roller coasters from 42 inches to 48.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting thing. And I can only guess that that's somebody in the top office made that change across the chain, or looked at these and made that decision. So that's an interesting one. I think signage and logos and branding, I think, is something I would expect to see more of this year, and then even more the year after. So as they go through and refresh things, we'll see which parks have a different look on their park maps. We'll see which parks have different looks on little things like trash cans and napkins and cups and, any of those sorts of things where you're going to see any sort of branding. As that stuff gets refreshed, it's going to get swapped out. We've already seen it on even some of the marquee signs at the major parks. We've seen Six Flags fonts come into play. Yeah.
Something interesting about 2 weeks ago at the Rapterra Media Day at Kings Dominion, talking with the food and beverage director, she was saying that Six Flags had given the park money to update the restaurants, to kind of update the look of them. And I thought that was really interesting that money was set aside for those type of things. So I think we might see that too across the chain, just things being cleaned up aside from the attractions and rides. So that's great. Good stuff.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, right? That's all that we can hope for. I mean, homogenization, let's not get the worst of Six Flags and Cedar Fair. Let's get the best of both.
Yeah. Here's another question. What is a segment of the show that you considered trying, but eventually decided against it?
I'm trying to remember. Okay,
I've got one.
Yeah.
One thing that we have kicked around for years, and I think legally we can't do it unless we figure out a way around it, is doing prank calls.
This is what I was just telling you about.
Yes, you were talking about doing it for the 20th anniversary show. So here's the deal. Like what we would do, imagine Coaster Boy calling the Six Flags Great Adventure hotline or whatever, talking to somebody or somebody, a hysterical Disney mom calling 1407W Disney to ask questions, those type of things. The problem is legally we can't do it unless we tell them they're being recorded.
Right.
So I don't know how we do.
Now, we talked about this on last week's episode, and longtime listeners will recall. We referenced the Don and Mike show as inspiration for us. When we were teenagers and young men growing up in the DC Metro on our commutes, we would listen to the stupid Morning Zoo radio show and the Drive Time radio show. They did games, they did characters, they did all sorts of stupid, crass, dumb things. One of the things they would do is they would do these prank calls, and they would always just buzz past saying, "Hey, it's Coaster Boy. You're on the air right now. We're recording your voice. I demand to speak to someone about Orion's tops. It's not even a real giga."
Yes. They would always at
Don't
the beginning.
Don't tap the drop. He got total height from sea level.
Yeah. Yeah. They would always say it right at the beginning so
You just
fast.
say it really quick.
Yeah.
But we'll have to run that past Larry from legal and figure out if we can actually pull that off somehow. Or do you do it like you get through the whole thing and then you tell them at the end? Or I don't know how you would go about doing it. Or do you have to get the parts to let you do it in advance? It would be so much fun.
And that
or we
takes
can
out,
just fake them and lie to everybody.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. That's why if you listen to like the Howard Stern show, they do prank calls, but they prank call other radio shows or internet radio shows where they're taking calls, and it's all, if essentially it's kind of the reverse way of doing it.
If it's a call-in show, right? Because then they're inviting the call, right?
Yes.
So there you go. We're gonna have Coaster Boy call C-SPAN Book Talk.
Yes, there you go.
Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
So that's one way we could do it, and we just call some internet radio shows and have some fun there. So. All right, let's see. You have to eliminate a classic Disney ride that Walt worked on. Which one would it be and why?
Well, you would know this answer more than like. Which ones do I get to pick from? Like, which are the originals?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many at Disneyland. I guess. I mean, you could look at
the
Jungle
original
Cruise.
Rides. Okay, these are the originals. Okay, Jungle Cruise, Mad Tea Party, Snow White's Scary Adventure, Country Bear Jamboree. All right, I'm looking at the list. Do we get rid of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride?
Oh no, that's good. Don't touch it. That's a good one. That's a fun one.
I'm trying to think of ones that are done that I don't care about. What is the Diamond Horseshoe Review?
I mean, that's a cool building, and Walt, like, I remember, like, the story about...
That's a table service restaurant.
Yeah, but there's still...
I don't even know what it is.
Up at the top, like, on the top of the stage, there's a balcony, and Walt sat up there for, like, his 50th anniversary or something a few days before.
We're not going to get rid of anything, are we?
No.
Can you get rid of the King Arthur carousel and put in a different carousel?
It's a nice one, though.
If you got rid of that carousel and put in a different, really good carousel, would you miss that specific carousel, and would you miss the King Arthur theme? Can I plunk down a really nice Moana carousel?
Did you
where you ride seahorses?
Did you say the bear show? What was that? The
Country Bear Jamboree.
Can that go? I've never liked that. That could go.
Well, what about it's new now?
Oh, the one at Disney World, right? Do they have one at Disneyland? I don't think so.
No, this is Disney World opening day attractions. Well, that's not; those aren't really Walt Disney. Opening day attractions at Walt Disneyland. That's what I want.
I mean, he still had something to do with pirates. I don't know if there's any ride that I'd be comfortable pulling out that Walt had something to do with.
Well, Autopia, King Arthur Carousel, Mr.
How about
Toad,
Autopia? Autopia could go. Autopia is not interesting.
Yeah, we were going to put in the Star Wars speeder bikes ride, right?
Something better.
That's what we wanted to put in there.
Yeah, get rid of the Autopia. That could go. Yeah.
Mad Tea Party?
I've never liked that much, and that's something.
Casey Jr. Circus Train?
I don't really like that either. But the Mad Tea Party could go. Mad Tea Party is like copied everywhere. Yeah. I'm going with Mad Tea Party.
The Golden Horseshoe Saloon. That might be a good one.
Oh, but that's cool if you're ever in there.
Okay, so what did we decide? What are we getting rid of? Casey Jr.?
I'm going to go with Mad Tea Party.
Mad Tea Party? Okay, get rid of Mad Tea Party. And I'm getting rid of King Arthur's Carousel. I'm going to put in an even better carousel, maybe a double-decker, and it's going to be awesome. You're not even going to miss it.
Yeah. Last time I was at Disneyland, they let me go up to the upper level of the Golden Horseshoe and go into the booth where Walt sat for his 50th anniversary.
Ooh.
Kind of cool.
Did you put your hand like around where his ghost would be?
That's right.
Like, hey, I could feel him.
Walt, let me give you a hug. Very nice.
He's sitting right next to me. I feel it.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Here's one. Will you guys ever make an off-topic episode again?
Yes.
And I don't know if they're talking about Patreon off-topic or off-topic here on Coaster Radio. Not
also,
sure.
Yes.
I'm sure we will. Sometime.
I'm sure we will.
Remember we did an 80s movie podcast a couple times? That was fun. That was good. We'll do something again.
We'll do something again, I'm sure.
You guys often talk about the curse of Coaster Radio. Which thing that has been cursed by the show do you most wish had become a reality?
The Alien Park, of course.
Yes. Oh, of course. That was number one. I know we had the old South Park and some other ones, but no, man, Alien Apex Park needed to happen.
Alien Apex Park that was going to be built near Area 51 in Nevada. Yeah. That's the one.
Brian had that. Brian Temmer, who it was his idea, and he got far. He got pretty far with getting funding from the city council and stuff. He got far. He had media coverage and stuff. He had a way of talking about that roller coaster. He was saying there are things going to happen on it that's never happened on a ride like that before. Like he really got people kind of excited. He got us excited about it. So I would have liked to seen that happen. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
have been so much fun. Yeah, a major theme park outside of Las Vegas, I think it would have been. It had potential. It did. It had everything that was there, and it was going to have a coasterradio.com studio.
Yes.
At the heart of the park.
I love it. Right in the center. Would have
Yep.
been good. Would have been good.
Would have been good.
In your opinion, what is your least favorite ride manufacturer?
Oh, I don't want to disparage anybody.
I know, because I don't have a least favorite. I have least favorite rides and ride types, but I don't know if I have a least, like, everybody's got at least one ride that's kind of fun, so I don't have a least favorite, I don't think.
Vekoma.
Especially
I'll
like
go ahead and throw it out there.
old school Vekoma, but the new ones are pretty good. Like, they've kind of had a resurgence, so I don't know. I don't know if I can think of anybody that's... I got to think about that one. Let me think about that one a little bit, and we'll talk about that on a future episode.
Because I mean, you could easily get outside of the major ride manufacturers and pick something terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Least favorite ride manufacturer, and
Yeah.
then you have to kind of think about what do you mean by least favorite?
Right.
You know, like I could say least favorite is our friends at Triotech. They make fine things for what they make. Are they
Right,
going to make
yes.
the biggest, baddest, most incredible roller coaster? No, of course not. That's not what they're in business to do. So yeah, you got to think about that kind of thing too. Like, what are we talking about when we're talking about our favorites?
Yeah. I got to say, there's a Triotech roller coaster at our local Chuck E. Cheese, and my two girls get on that thing, and they love it.
Yep.
So, you know.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah, right? It's
It
not
is
like
what it
the
is.
greatest like thrill ride ever, but man, they sit there and they'll ride that over and over. It's so.
Mhm.
Here's a good one: this or that, Rick Moranis or Michael J. Fox. We talked about Rick Moranis last week on the show. Like I was talking about Ghostbusters.
What to like date?
Yeah, no, watch Rick Moranis. I'll say it again, man. Go watch Ghostbusters. Watch the scene where he's at the party. There is one continuous shot. He is ad-libbing that whole scene. It's genius. Watch it. So good.
All right,
I'm going to
Rick
go with Rick
Moranis.
Moranis. I love Michael J. Fox and Back to the Future, but Rick Moranis, every role that dude is in, he makes me laugh.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through the. Let's see here. Boy, Rick Moranis is in a lot more movies than you remember. He was
I
in.
know, yeah. And can
really
I kind of
was.
tell you something that makes me upset about Michael J. Fox?
Yes.
He disparages Teen Wolf. And I don't, and he he's always puts it down. He says like how he was embarrassed to be in it. But come
What's-
on, man. Teen
I
Wolf
didn't know
was
that.
a funny movie.
How
And
dare you?
Yeah. Like if you look back at the whole career, like Teen Wolf was one of the reasons that, I mean, I know Back to the Future propelled him, but Teen Wolf was a much beloved movie, even though it was goofy, but it was, people liked it. So,
I like Michael J. Fox just fine, but what are we talking about here? I'm looking again. I'm looking at the catalog. We're talking about Family Ties, Back to the Future. What's a classic? Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
Frighteners,
Yeah.
amazing. One of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I mean, he was the voice of a dog in Homeward Bound. He was in Stuart Little.
Yeah. But go and look
That's
at
it. I mean,
Rick
that's pretty much
Moranis.
it,
Yeah.
right? I mean, a
Yeah.
bunch of TV stuff and a bunch of
Right.
those sorts of things, but I think we just kind of went through his entire, the ones that we care about. And we got Spaceballs and Ghostbusters and Little Shop of Horrors and
Yeah.
Parenthood.
And then the dude just walked away
The
from all of it, man.
Flintstones. He did a great
yeah, he was in
Barney.
the Flintstones. Yeah, that's
Honey,
right.
I
Yeah.
Shrunk the Kids.
Yep.
Man. No, there's
was
some
good. He was
stuff-
great in
there's some good
Parenthood.
stuff in there.
Parenthood was funny too.
Yeah, and you got to respect the guy from saying, you know what, I'm just going to move to Canada and retire because I
Yeah.
need to take care of my family.
Exactly.
Got to respect that too.
Good for him, man.
Yeah, we're gonna pick Rick Moranis, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Since the pandemic 5 years ago, RMC has only done 2 wood coaster conversions,
Mm-hmm.
Gwazi to Iron Gwazi and Wildcat to Wildcat's Revenge. Do you think that's a result of RMC having converted all the suitable coasters? Is that a change in direction from RMC to do more ground up and single rail roller coasters?
I wonder if part of it is that if you know the family that kind of started up RMC
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of think about who they are and their values, I wonder if they just got bored.
Maybe.
And they're just not being as aggressive with this business any longer. They made a lot of money. They had a lot of fun, but it's not fun to keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're like, okay, that was fun, and now we're not really all that aggressive about it anymore.
Maybe.
I don't
Maybe
know.
so.
I'd be very
I don't
curious
know.
to ask this exact question to somebody from RMC.
Yes,
and see
yeah.
what they had to say.
Oh, yeah.
But that's kind of my impression. Is there certainly are coasters out there that could be converted. Right. Absolutely. They're out there. And I think fans who can think of their local parks and think about, well, my old busted up wooden roller coaster would be a great RMC. But yeah, I think RMC themselves are like, yeah, we'll do it if you want us to. But it's like a contractor who doesn't want to get the job. They just price it too high.
Yes. Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if they're doing that, where it's like, well, yeah, we could do it and we could make some money, but I'd rather, take the dirt bikes out on the back 40 and jump some ramps.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of people they are.
Yeah.
Let's take the pontoon boat out for the weekend.
Right.
Or do you want to go build a roller coaster? It's like, put in double for the bid.
Yeah.
And
Because
then they'll go with Titan Track instead, and we'll just
you're
go
right.
have fun.
It is
Yeah.
a family company. And at what point do you just say, like, hey, we've made enough. We don't have to, like, bust our ass. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I would not surprise me if that is the real answer there.
Yeah. One last one, EB, before the break. What is your go-to karaoke song?
I feel like this one's been asked before, and I did win
Yeah.
karaoke at the bar once by singing Bohemian Rhapsody with three of my friends.
Nice. That is a good one. That is a good one. I've got a whole list of go-tos.
Of course you do.
Yes.
And this is just from last weekend.
just from last week. I love me some karaoke, man. One that I like doing, and it brings the house down every time, is "Keep Your Hands to Yourself" by Georgia Satellites. I don't know if you remember that song. It's a great late
give me the
80s.
hook.
Remember the dude, like, he sang high. He's like, I got a little change in my pocket going jingle,
Jingle, jangle, jingle, jangle.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, that's that one. Okay.
I got no huggy kiss. See, it's so good, man. That
That's
brings
a
the
good
house down. People like to
one.
dance to that. But I also
I
like,
didn't know the name of that, but I definitely know that song.
keep your
Great.
hands
Good.
to yourself. Then there's also Mac the
Don't
Knife
give me no
Man.
line.
Yeah, and keep your hands to
And
yourself.
keep your hands to yourself.
So good. People like that. So that's my go-to. But I also like Mac the Knife if it's more chill atmosphere. So it all depends on what the crowd is like. You got to play to the crowd, EB. That's what it is.
Yeah, you got to pick a song that you know they're gonna like. Yeah.
Yeah. Greatest
Rowdy
karaoke
College Bar, do a
There you go.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, yeah. Greatest karaoke bar I ever went to, though, had a live karaoke band, and you got to.
I've seen that before. That's pretty great when they do that.
Oh, it's so that there's nothing like that especially when they've got backup singers, man. So good, so good. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, more of your listener questions.
This is Coaster Radio. Welcome back to the 20th anniversary season of Coaster Radio. Here are your hosts, Mike Collins and EB.
Welcome back, everybody, to the original theme park podcast. You're listening to Coaster Radio. I'm Mike. That is EB. We're having a lot of fun answering your listener questions.
That's right, Mike. This is one of our favorite episodes all year long. It's the Listener Questions episode of Coaster Radio. This is part 2 of 2. So let's get to the rest of the questions here.
I like this question. I want to see a positive answer on this because this is one of my favorite things we ever did. EB, this was your brainchild. Is there any chance we will see more videos with the Coaster Boy puppet in the future?
Well, just like anything, yes, of course you will. And if you tune into the show live, I got him right here. He's right here.
Coaster Boy puppet. I love Coaster Boy puppet. So good. Oh, here he is.
He's right here, Mike. God, you suck.
I love Coaster Boy puppet.
Why do you want me to be on your podcast again? Jeez.
I love that
You
puppet.
are posers and pretentious both.
Oh my gosh. So good.
Both.
There is a video that's out there of you handling the Coaster Boy puppet at Dollywood, and it's talk about like Rick Moranis ad-libbing. You ad-libbed for 10 minutes as people ask Coaster Boy questions, and it's one of the funniest videos ever. It's out there. It's on our YouTube channel. So
That's
you gotta
great.
check
No,
it out.
yeah. I think Coaster Boy can make a comeback. He's always around. He pops up when he needs to.
Yeah, and those videos are so good. There's a fantastic video, I think, where did Brian Wackler shoot footage at Coney Island?
Oh, that was an idea that I had, and maybe
Yeah.
I could revisit this because this was a fun idea where Coaster Boy was just green screened over the
Yes.
crowd scenes of the parks, just like harassing people.
Yeah, but you ad-libbed based on what was happening in the background, and it was
Right, that's what I
perfect.
mean,
Yeah.
right? Like, it was just like shots of the park and then Coaster Boy riffing on the people.
Yes. It was so
Yeah.
great. Like, I remember like a girl in a bikini walked by and Coaster Boy like whipped his hand over and he's like, oh, bikini. Like, just so good. It was great. It looked real. That's what was so good about it.
Yeah,
So,
that was pretty good. Okay, let's do that. If anybody wants to do this, here's what you got to do for me. You got to record, you go to the park, you sit down at a park bench, get your phone out, record a good 3, 4, 5 minutes
yes.
of just a nice shot of the Midway. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need. It can be like the exit ramp coming down out of a roller coaster. It can be, just the Midway where people are walking by. It can be, with the restaurant in the background, whatever it is, just some good people watching. Give me a good people watching video, and maybe we'll give it the Coaster Boy treatment. So
Good.
Send that in, feedback@coasterradio.com.
I love it. That's great.
Good.
Have you guys ever thought about meeting in the same city, renting a car, and going on a 1 or 2 week long coaster road trip together? That might provide several episodes worth of great content.
All right, I got 2 things to say about this one, Mike. Number one, we've absolutely thought about it with the Great British,
Yes.
the Great Britain Coaster Club, that we would get a bus and we would go to the UK and we would actually do a bus trip for like 5, 6 days with 48 of our close personal friends.
Wow.
And we
yes.
would travel around the UK going to all the parks on a bus trip. Number 2 idea, I think this guy's onto something, or this gal, whoever asked this question is onto something, Mike. We could do this and then record everything
Yes.
like it was a season of 24.
It could be a whole
Like,
season.
can you
Yes.
imagine
Yeah.
if we did a 1 week, let's say like 6 parks in 6 days, Coaster Radio road trip,
Wow.
but you record like before you go to the park, in the park, after
Everything.
the park, of everything. And that 6-day trip is 40 episodes of Coaster Radio.
Oh my gosh. Could that be like season 21 or 22? Like, that's what it is. Yeah.
Right. The entire season. Like, I mean, we've known shows that have done gimmicks like this, right? Where they do an entire season
Yeah.
that is a show.
I like that idea.
Yeah, is one thing. Yeah.
Imagine doing a whole year of Coaster Radio in 2 weeks. That'd be good. It'd be good.
Yeah, we could
Yeah.
totally do it.
All right. I like that. That's good. Let's go back to the voicemail line and see what we've got there.
An army of evil otters, 500 bonus points if you get this reference. Attack one of you. Do you continue the show with a new host, a la Ebert and Roper, or do you just say it'll never be the same and just end it?
So one of us gets attacked by an evil otter and I guess is no longer around. Does the other one continue the show?
500 evil otters?
Yeah, or 500 evil
Were there
otters. 500?
500 evil otters? Or we'll play the beginning of that again.
Hang on, wait, here, I'll play the
I'm
whole
very
thing.
curious about
Yes,
this.
yes, here we go.
An army of evil otters, 500 bonus points if you get this reference.
Oh, 500
Yeah,
bonus
okay,
points.
yeah.
So it's an army worth of evil otters, and I do not get this reference.
Me
I
neither.
have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just Googling evil otters.
Evil otters?
And apparently this is a thing. The first result is otters are like super evil, and 16 other otter facts.
Oh. But what is an army of evil otters? Yeah, and we're supposed to
Anyway.
get 5. Yeah, anyway, yeah.
I think the crux of the question is one of us has met our fate. Does the podcast continue? And I'll say that, I do this podcast with my friend Mike, and I don't have any other friends. So that would be the end of the podcast.
It wouldn't. No, there's no way. Even if like EB came to me and he's like, "Hey, this is not fun anymore. I don't want to do this anymore." I would not want to like call up somebody else and be like, "Hey, could you take up?" It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same at all. This is like,
No, I could I could see either of us doing another podcast.
Sure.
Because doing a podcast is fun and hanging out with a friend is fun. And so if this one ended, I don't think we would try to force it to continue
No.
in some other iteration. No, it would be something new that I would do if I kept doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So otters, we're watching out for you.
There you go. Perfect. I like this question. What is your favorite film based on a Stephen King novel?
Oh, I feel like this is another one that I got to Google. Do you have an answer at the ready?
I do. I do. I really liked Pet Sematary, the original. That was pretty creepy. Like that had many creepy scenes.
Boy, there's a lot of good movies.
But there are a lot of good ones.
Way more than I thought there were.
I know.
Holy moly!
You're probably going to make me remember one that I'm not thinking. I also liked Thinner. Thinner was a great one, but that was kind of goofy. But the best one ever was the original from the 70s, Carrie, with Sissy Spacek and the dude from Greatest American Hero. That was the scariest movie, especially at the end with the pig's blood going on her. And that gave me nightmares as a kid, like true nightmares. Yeah.
I mean, if you count some of the TV movies and then like Pet Sematary 2 and some of the sequels.
Yeah.
How many do you think there's listed here when I just Google it?
It's going to be way more than I could ever guess.
76.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
76. I could never name all of these, but when I look at them, I'm like, oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And there's some seriously good movies here. What's the question? Is it just your favorite Stephen King movie adaptation?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you do this? Firestarter, Shining, Stand By Me, Misery, Cujo, The Running Man. Don't forget The Running Man.
I forgot that one. I forgot that was his. Yeah.
Pet Sematary, Shawshank Redemption, Carrie.
So many.
The Mangler.
So many. It's kind of crazy. You know what's cool about Stephen King?
It's Shining, of course. Yeah.
You know what's really cool about him is that for student filmmakers, he will let you option his books for $1 to make a student film. I think that's really cool. That's really great.
All right, I'm going to say Maximum Overdrive because that was the one he was the most coked out and he directed.
There you go. All right. I like that. That's a different one. That's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. So many good ones, though. I didn't know it was that many, though, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Here's another one. What do you think the long-term future is for the Hall of Presidents at Magic Kingdom? If Disney wanted to get rid of it, this is probably the best chance they'll ever have because President Trump has already had his turn to be the featured speaker during his first term. Do you think they're just going to get rid of this?
No. Do you? I mean, unless Trump is the last president.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, then yeah, they would. I guess.
I have not been there in years, and I've not been in there, but I hear stories of people misbehaving in the Hall of Presidents and shouting one way or another, on whatever side you're on, just shouting things out in the Hall of Presidents. So, I wonder if we're becoming too fractured of a country politically to handle that type of ride, or maybe I don't know, just have it be where Lincoln and George Washington speak, and the rest of it is just them standing there. They might do it that.
They don't have two Grover Clevelands in the Hall of Presidents.
No. They
so we're not going to get a second Trump.
No. Yeah. Okay. And I don't remember how they handled Grover Cleveland, like if they say his name twice, but I think they just say it once and skip over the second time.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, of course, Grover Cleveland, the only other president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that we'll lose the Hall of Presidents when we lose the presidency as a thing.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have the Hall of Kings.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think it's going to stick around for a while. I think
so too.
It's a lot of money. It's they don't want a just big empty building there. There was always talk about like a Muppets history show that they'd put in there. That could always happen too. An American history show that could work well with the Muppets. So we'll see. If you're having a game night with your family, what's the first board game you'd choose to play?
Oh, we like a lot of games. We like to play games. I like Scotland Yard. That's a fun one to play a lot.
Oh, what's that?
So Scotland Yard is really fun where you actually have a map of London and you can take a taxi, you can take a subway, or you can take the bus on each turn. Yeah. And one player is I guess the spy or the bad guy or whatever it is, the criminal who's sneaking around London trying to get away, and everybody else plays a Scotland Yard investigator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the player who is trying to get away, they don't put a token on the board. They move in secret by writing down their moves.
Interesting.
But then they have to pop up and reveal themselves occasionally.
Yeah.
And you, as the other people, are trying to corner them.
Oh, all right.
It's really fun because
That's fun.
it's a cooperative game where it's like 4 against 1, that kind of thing. So that's one that we like to play. We have lots of different monopolies. We collect a bunch of monopolies.
Oh, yeah.
And so
cool.
we like to drag out the weird monopolies sometimes. Those are some of our favorites.
I love Monopoly. That's my favorite board game of all time. I love playing that, especially if you really play according to the rules and everybody's, playing honestly and not cheating. That's a good one. It's funny. I have not played, like, my two girls love to play like Candyland and Shoots and Ladders, and that's kind of fun in a way. Like, those are fun games too. So I've got a game too that I have not opened yet, but I got it for Christmas like 2 or 3 years ago. It's a Big Thunder Mountain board game, and I've been wanting to play that. If I can find some time to do that, I will play that too. But it looks fun. So
I don't have enough board game people in my life. I love board games and I love complicated board games, but I don't know anybody that likes complicated board games. I have thought I should join a club, or I should go to like a meetup, or I should go down to the game store. I don't know if I'm that big of a dork. I probably am. I have a roller coaster podcast, but
yes.
But I do love a complicated board game. There's a Back to the Future board game that I've gotten people to play with me a couple of times. It's really, really fun, but it's also really complicated. You should look it up. It's actually really fun. And then there's we were just talking about Stephen King. There's a The Shining board game. Which is really fun, where you are actually you're caretakers at the hotel, but one of you is corrupted by by a demon.
Oh, weird.
But you don't know which player it is. So if you have 4 people playing and you're all being caretakers at the hotel, one of you is actually going crazy. But none of the other players know it except you.
Yeah.
And so at some point you snap and kill everybody, and they have to try to react. It's great.
Oh,
it's really fun.
Complicated. Yes.
Yeah. It's like Among Us, except it's a board game and it's The Shining.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Board games are fun.
I love complicated board games. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another one. We know you guys love tiki drinks, but what is your favorite beer?
What is your favorite beer? I'm a pretty boring beer person. I don't like the dark beers. I don't like the hoppy stuff. So I like a lager or a pilsner. I think if I'm going domestic, I live the high life, Mike. A Miller High Life, the champagne of beers.
Nice.
If I'm feeling fancy and I'm going out, I'll order a Stella.
All right, that's good.
Or a Modelo if I'm getting Mexican.
Okay, cool. I'm not a beer guy. I don't like beer that much. But if I go to like a beer fest or like a beer festival or something like that, I will try. Like I don't mind taking little sips, but I don't like a big beer is wasted on me. But I like the sour ones for some reason. I don't know.
I was just about to say how much I don't like the sours.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I like ciders. I do like cider.
I love ciders. Yeah, I'll have a cider before a beer any day.
Yeah, I like a cider drink.
There is a cidery not far from where I live, and I love going there in the fall. It's so great.
Yeah, we have one. It's Friendly Beasts Cidery in Bloomington, Indiana, and all of theirs, they have wonderful, like, it's like a cranberry, and then they have another one that's like peach infused. They have all kinds of wonderful, wonderful ones. And that's the summertime, I feel like, is a cider. And then into the fall, you can get the ciders and you can even warm them up. Right.
But
a summertime cider, and you can go down there and get like the pomegranate cider and fill up your growler. And that's a good weekend.
Yeah. It's fun to go to a place where they make it on site. That's always good.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool.
Here's another one. What's an advanced ride system? Think Kuka Robo arm on Forbidden Journey, or Test Track slot cars, or the most advanced trackless ride vehicles that is currently only at Disney or Universal, but you think could work at a Six Flags or Cedar Fair park at their level of little to no theming. And for the sake of discussion, pretend that it's only an advanced ride system in the budget of a regional park, but they also keep up with maintenance. So we can't say, oh, but if they put that in, it's not going to work because it'll fail. Just imagine that.
Well, that was my immediate reaction, was it's going to break down because it's too complicated.
Right.
So assuming they can maintain the ride system itself, I think a Kuka Robo arm, and just like everything Six Flags, you just theme it after a rusted out abandoned warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You go with the old rusty building theme that so many Six Flags and parks have as their theme.
Yeah.
And you put the Kuka Robo arm in there, and you just call it, the rusted out crazy factory industry ride.
Oh yeah, you could do that. Wouldn't they like probably do it to like Cyborg or something like Cyborg's?
Yeah, you could do it
Robo arm,
Cyborg, but
yeah.
but even that, I think the DC, they don't pull that off as well as they're really good at the rusty old building.
Yeah.
The rusty metal and overgrown lot
Yeah.
theme.
You could do like a Batman Kuka Robo arm thing, like it's the Bat arm or I don't know, something like that. That could be kind of
Sure.
interesting. Yeah. I don't think they would ever do a Kuka Forbidden Journey style thing, like moving through like that's too much for the regional parks.
No, you would not have the effects and the themes. You would just be going through stuff.
Yeah. I could
Right.
see them doing like trackless ride vehicles though. Doing something like even like some simple dark ride,
Does anybody have a trackless ride vehicle that's mostly outside? Because don't they have? Isn't it like a lot of stuff in the ceiling that keeps them where they're going?
that I'm not sure of, but I don't know of any that are outside.
What would be really cool? I'm inventing this ride right now. I would like to see a trackless ride vehicle that is like a people mover,
Yeah.
and so it takes you around the park
Ooh.
outside, right? So
Interesting.
imagine that there's a big path, a big roadway type
Yeah.
space that's on the other side of the fence from the roller coaster in the midway, and it's its own space,
Interesting.
right? And so you can just kind of be in this thing like a Woody the Pooh honeypot,
Yeah.
and you kind of just float around and go visit all of the roller coasters.
Yeah. I like that idea. That could really work.
Can that be a ride?
Sure.
Okay,
That's a way. I think
Done.
that's a way to make it work in the regional park. Sure.
there you go.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the theming is it's a people mover, but it's
Yeah.
a trackless ride vehicle,
Right.
which would just be really cool to see people floating around
Yeah.
on
yeah.
these like hovering, hovercraft type things with no tracks.
And more parks need transportation rides. We've got the train at a lot of the parks, and
Yeah, and
about
that's
it,
the sort
really.
of thing that could be a continuous load that would work effectively as a people mover,
Yeah.
I feel like.
I like it. I like it. One last one here. It's actually the second part to that last question. What is an off-the-shelf flat ride, usually only seen at regional parks, such as a scrambler, that you would like to see in a highly themed IP-related attraction at Disney or Universal? So, like, imagine a highly themed scrambler at Disney or Universal, or something along those lines.
Well, like what's the drop tower at Universal Islands of Adventure?
Oh yeah, that's a great example. That's really highly themed SNS Space Shot Tower. Yeah.
Yeah, and is that that's not Drop of Doom, it's Doctor Doom.
Dr. Doom's Fearfall.
There you go, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, something like that. I feel like that's a perfect example, isn't it? I can't think of any other good examples of that.
I like what you always say about taking a scrambler or something similar and putting it inside and doing some type of special effects show. Disney could do that. Or
you could take any good spinning ride and put it inside a dome with effects, whether it's projection, whether it's just lights and music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Take any flat ride and put it in a dome. And I think Universal and Disney would do a good job with it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other flats that are just fun. I would like to see what Disney or Universal would do with one of those. What are those? Like the same thing that was like on Tomb Raider Firefall.
Huss Topspin?
Huss Topspin. Yeah, I would like to see Disney or Universal take on one of those, because you always see that one on Instagram of the one overseas that's like kind of halfway enclosed, and then it has the waterfall that like comes up and almost hits people, like really incredibly well themed. I'd like to see them take that on. That'd be cool.
That would be very cool. Yeah, yeah. Let's do that.
I'd like to see them do a Topple Tower. I know that didn't work at Dollywood, but they could do something along those lines. That could be fun. I could see that in like Fantasyland or something. So yeah, a lot of options.
That would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
Good.
the Topple Tower was a cool idea. It just didn't work.
Oh, super themed and the whole thing. Yeah. If the engineers could get a hold of it maybe and fix it, but that wouldn't be off the shelf. Then that kind of goes against the question here. I feel like.
Yeah. I'm curious at Epic Universe, they're kind of doing their own version of like the Splash Battle. That at the Dragonland or whatever, there's going to be the or the fire drill, I guess it's going to be called.
Yes.
Where you shoot water at different targets and stuff. I'd like to see Disney try to do something like that with the splash battle concept. That'd be fun.
Oh, there you go. I like that. That's a good answer. Is splash battle at Disney? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
They could have fun with that, with animatronics and targets and all types of stuff. So. So there we go, everybody. We've come to the end of our listener question show for 2025. Maybe we'll do another one, late in the year, like in the fall or
that's good.
something. It'd be fun because it's always fun to hear questions from you guys, and we appreciate everybody who sent them in. And thank you so much because, like we always say, you guys are the reasons these shows work and all the shows work, honestly. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, very fun. Thank you, everybody, for contributing to this year, these last 2 listener questions episodes of Coaster Radio. We do want to say thank you to everybody, not only who helped us out with these episodes, but everybody who keeps the show coming week after week and day after day with Theme Park News, our daily podcast. Find that wherever you find podcasts. Let's say thanks, Mike, to people who support the show at patreon.com/Coaster Radio. Those who support the show at the $20 a month level.
Yes, they are Alex Payne, Ashton Rowe, Brian Wackler, Chris Rankin, Cincinnati Nick, the Sweatshirt Guy, our friends at Club Z, the 2 bearded Coaster Chris's, CM Venom, Colton Toms, Dino, Grace, and John Brody.
Also, John Brown, Josh Combs, Justin Padilla, Karen and Lee Howren, Kevin Wilson, Kyle Kiefer, our friends at Made to Thrill, Matt Walker, Michael Foucault, Nick from Paris, Paolo de los Reyes, Rich Barber, Rick Burnley, Tom from Louisville, and Zachary Carpenter.
Yes, thank you so much to all those guys. Also, thanks to Kyle Lindner at Lindner Design Company. They created the 20th anniversary CoasterRadio.com logo. You ought to check out Kyle's company because he specializes in branding, illustration, and small batch custom apparel. Check out all his design work on Instagram at Lindner_design.
That's right. And Mike, we are getting closer and closer to the Coaster Radio 20th anniversary episode. That's coming up here later in April. Next week's episode of Coaster Radio is going to be a really special one. Is this the next week? This is the next week.
Yeah.
We're going to be dropping a special AI enhanced version of, is it the first episode of the podcast?
The first episode. Yes. We went
AI
back.
enhanced version. We're going to be bringing it back in stunning 2025 audio quality. The 2005 crappy audio that we recorded the first episode in. It was great at the time, Mike. It's not a dig.
Yes.
It's not a dig, my friend.
No. It was all right. It wasn't bad for 2005. Yeah.
But we're bringing it forward. We're gonna dust the wax get the dust off the wax cylinder.
There you go.
We're gonna bring it into the modern age. It's gonna be great next week.
And it's fun. We'll give you a little preview of it next week before we play it. But there's some fun stuff in there, and it's kind of fun to go back 20 years and hear what we were talking about and how some of the rides exist and some of them don't anymore. It's kind of crazy. So a lot of fun to kind of go back. It's a nice time capsule taking you back to 2005.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be next week.
You've been listening to Coaster Radio, the original theme park podcast. To learn more about the show and hear hundreds of episodes from the archives, visit our website at coasterradio.com. This is your announcer, Neil Patrick Harris. Thanks for listening. Peace out, suckers. Coaster Radio is a production of Lift Hill Media, LLC. Audio and video from this program may not be broadcast, edited, or reproduced without our express written permission. Copyright 2025, all rights reserved. This was all done in one breath.